It's page 1306 of the Arukh HaShulchan. The Arukh HaShulchan is sponsored, of course, today. It should be discussed. The learning today should be for the situation at the soldiers and anybody else who needs a Yeshua, who are unfortunately many people. Today we do your day Sif Tzadiches Sif Lamed Hey to Mem Dalet. Lamed. When we come learning here of Farish Cain by Mishnah, so the talking about a geled, a scab on a wound, and we're saying that it doesn't seem to explain that this has to do with the moist pus. It doesn't seem that the pshat is that the pus is the chatzitza. Lo here Farshka Mishnah Brahma. The Chomakam B'Shas Pirusha the geled who are krum shal maka. Geled always means the scab. Well, hugla piyamaka, such as where the it says the language pirusha baruch or dak, a thin layer of skin sha'ala maka, which has come up on the maka. V'gam mikra kenu b'iyov, and there's also a way the pasuk indicates in iyov sak tafarti alay gildi. It's a dry wound. It has a scab. And this pasuk the Arukh brings the medrash Iyov somebody had a wound and it got healed. They also geled and it got a scab. Therefore, Rambam must also mean with scab. The scab on the wound, which comes dry, ain't no chaytzitz. It's not a chatzitza. A woman who has itches, she has to shampoo, until they get soft. It's not going on the membranes, which are the scabs, but on dry moisture, on pus which dried up. The bracket says here, they say it's going on the moisture. They hold like rash. Aleph Shapirish Hogla Piyamaka Krusta. It's a crust. Apparently a crust and a scab are not the same thing. The crust could be a chatzitza, it's dried up mucus. Scab is not. The crust is the dried up mucus. The membranes are not a chatzitza. Even Rambam V'duk, dried up moisture might, that is a chatzitza, but not the scabs. You should know the Yesh Mishom, those who say the Gambadin said the rear says Yabish, moisture was dried up, the chatzitza is a chatzitza, many of us are Rabbeim argue. It's really to hold the Zel Rak the Taros, the Baal. It's only issue in terms of Taros, not in terms of going to make it for a husband. Leaf loof, such as the moisture in the eye, Uchol, and the eye ointment should be out of Siflam Rav, which we said, spoke about, the Chokol loved, and they argued in the body Bachdina Komodi Chayzis Gambe Bala. They argue, they say, no, here also Chatzitza also for terms of husband. Yes, it's a riot Rabbos. That's the primary, there are many pieces of evidences, and that is the actual primary halacha. The also scab on the wound is including this ayin sham. The Dolim had difficulty with what he means. I think the Shariah and Farish Geled Shalamaka, the Ravid explained that the membrane, the scab on the wound, krum is on the membrane. Could be a ram of Arukh Shevenu. It's talking about chaytzitz, which be honored. And the Indian larir, she's yabish like to do with dried up mucus. She's which Torah is being about and say it is a chatzitza. And bracket says if you accept this, matur it's kol mashik shu b'zeh v'duk. Anything else against the Ravid is resolved. Lamatzayit Isa Bagmara. How do you read the Kuslisa? Bar says that the read the Kuslisa Klamar Kazas Adam the The bloodletting, Atlas Yome, up till 3 days, Lo Chaitze, it's not a Chatzitza. Mikam Be'er from the Anen Chaitze. It is a Chatzitza. Perish Rashi, Derech Makasa causes Dam, the Derech of the Maka of bloodletting. Ilalos Gelet, it produces scab. Al Shosh Yom HaGel Rach, up to 3 days, the scab is soft. Vave Bosa. And it's like flesh, Ein Sham. T'me'ala, Tuva Sholosh Shish Mitu, Zeh, why don't you leave this out? Just relate the Zelataris if it's because this is Tataris for Tumantara issues in Cain. Can leave a little clothes. So that's the case. Also, the mucus in the eye and the ointment, love and the he shouldn't have written down. Because the Rambams are paired basic mikvos. Sorry. Like we said, the Rambams are paired basic mikvos, Rambams, right? Because of Zeh, Lashon Acher, B'Zeh. So he writes, Bedin, Chaf in halacha chaf sarta b'sara. She scratched her flesh. V'otzidam and blood came out. V'tavla b'soch shel shalom. If she was told within 3 days, ein makom asvitas chayt is a place where the scratches is not a chatzitza. After 3 days, chayt is a chatzitza chuli akal lashon. Tzvili holds the left after because it's dam. It's not necessarily just bloodletting. Eluhuadin l'chol means to every scratch b'basar in the flesh sheyatzim dam where the blood comes out. Adin kin that's halacha. Rabbi Yiksel of the Rabbi argues with him. The ain's a demon like causes down. It's not comparable to bloodletting. She'acholios gam b'tzol shomim. Chaytzis where it could be that even within the first 2 days it is a chatzitza. Haysham. Kamat lo dami hakaza. It's in other words, it's not comparable to hakaza. Shadami it's a pneumius aguf where the blood comes in the internal part of the body. That's shomim achi sabish. There requires 3 days until it dries. Mashem b'strita ba'alma, as opposed to a scratch, which is superficial, there it promptly forms a problematic scab right away. It's not clear what the term shulchan mean to distinguish. Lamaches, chates or coats, arrow, or a thorn, which is stuck into her flesh. In near machutz, you can see it outside. It sticks out. Or it's flush with the skin. The chatzitz and ish. If shashlo yeh mashu mimenu mafsik. Ben Besara Lakots. There can't be, it's not possible that there won't be something which interrupts between her flesh and the thorn. You can't see it from the outside. So it's a little bit embedded in her flesh. Actually, so you can see it from the outside. So at least like the hole is not sealed over it. Shalom Emra B'Tfila V'Rachatz V'Soro B'Mayim Ela Orach Yitzayim. Doesn't say by Tfila that V'Rachatz V'Soro B'Mayim has to include anything below the superficial layer. Allah Basim, it's not going on the inner flesh. So Vush and the Sach V'Yesh says in the shadows of the toe said Fus, whatever. Upashu She'im Allah Krum B'Chayin Echotz. It's scab, it's not chatzitz no matter what. That's a task. V'Yesh Stapik. We can question Shabolit Harbei. Now, Boston has a large scab, thick scab, extending out beyond the flesh. V'Allah Krum, and it has a membrane, a scab, imahani, if it's effective. V'Yid lo mahani, I don't think it's effective, says Arukh HaShulchan. Obviously, this is not a prevalent case. The person perspires, it becomes on the flesh something like a kind of excrement, a moist excrement. And these kasha, but it came hard. And now it's bleeding, it came like a scab. Chotzitzim is a chatzitza. A milmul is also a problem. What's that mean? Perusho shemagabel tit, when you're mixing cement, or lash iso, or a dough. Which obviously you rub your hands against each other. Like when you go like this. So little like threads fall off. And if they fall in flesh, it's chatzitza tzricha. Masirom b'yadeh shesmun with your hands. Always welcome mayim, or to spill them water. We mail them, and then they fall on their own. Ma'am, because of a tour writes teeth haboros v'tita yotzim. The mud in a pit, and mud of a potter, and mud of roads, if they cling to the flesh, Fame Meveshim, the dry Chotzitzim, the Chatzitza. But Shartitim, other types of mud, I feel Yavesh, even if it's dry. I feel Eno Chotzitzim, Chatzitza, Kamashano. That's a tour, the Shalom. The Kshalon is Yabesh Kol Min Tit Eno Chatzitza. When it's not dry, no type of mud is a Chatzitza. Fish Sheteret Lamayim Miplu, because when it goes into water, it's going to fall off. B'shari Titin Lebat Elo Shlosha, and any other mud besides these three. I feel Shayavesh, even if it's dry, Yiplu Me'aguf, they're going to fall off the body. Avarambam B'Shulchan Aruch, but see if you doubt Kosovo, Tit HaYuvain, the Tit HaYotzim, the Rambam, right, the teeth of a quagmire, and the teeth of Yotzin and the teeth of potters, the teeth of Drachim, and the mud of roads, Hanim Tzasham, which is there, Tamid on the road, Afim was Chama even in the summer, Kol El Chatzim, they're all Chatzitza. Shar Kol Teeth, any type of other type of mug, should love it, Ilach, when it's moist, and Chatzitza, Chatzitza, Sher Nimka, Mike, gets dissolved water. Shuyavish, when it's dry, Chatzitza is Chatzitza, Kanashono. Lusfil the Shlosha Elu, those are these three things, even in the moist Chatzitza, the Minei Shumanam, because they are oily. This is viscous. They become very clinky. If they ain't over up on my and they don't go away even with water unless you scrub them. It's appropriate to imagine all types of mud, no matter what canon or bikini, because we're not conversing with different types of mud. And also remove all sorts of dirt which is on the body. The bracket says Divrei Torah Heim connected Mishnah of the Gvos Bektes. The words Torah go against the Mishnah Gvos and before Sham Bishar Kol Tit Mad Bilim Bok Shulach. Any other type of mud you can use, go to the mikveh when it's moist. Ayin Sham. V'abach Tirei Tzabach answers Shem Mefarish Lina Hashaka. Ayin Sham has to do with it's being with starif to the rest of the mikveh, but not in terms of chatzitza. V'zel Kapei Sheish Farshi Baby Rav Shma Ayin Sham. This is like one of the opinions brought by the Bartanura. We come near, no, that Tur didn't say, how does the Tur get Zalacha? Near sight near, I think, Shemafarish, the Zeshin Shulach, I would say when it's moist, but it should be minlach. It's from a type which is moist. Klomar me aticha asoilach, a mud which is made to be moist. Now it's a pack of base close, like Luna and the pack of close. Ve'ez a tit umrain, sham, v'akacham marik shu yovish. Let's talk about when it's dry. If you locate, if not, a chiluk ben min lach or ben min yavish, no difference between moist and dry. Im ato hu lo nofel, they might. Im ato lo nofel. There's something missing here. If I guess if it doesn't fall now, it's lo nofel. They might. It's not going to fall by water or beduk. I'm going to take a break here. Mem Aleph. As you can tell, I've changed venues here. It says, Mem Aleph, because Rabbeinu Amar, things are miu imak penis, I feel b'davar lach, if she's makbid, even if the mud is still moist, chotzetz chatzitza ad kan l'shonav. And move on. Don't understand. Dok shulach, if it's moist, no from minabosar. It falls off the flesh. It came mashach beta, was making basar or not. So I have to say, so the komi tit nishar kamin rosham al basar. Any type of pitch, any type of mud, there is some sort of mark which is left even if you remove it. Abshan oflu. But normally most people are not bothered by this. That's what it says. Even makpedes, if she's bothered, as probably most women be nowadays. Kochi is tinisa, she's very sensitive. Chotzitz achetiv shav shenu heitev. It's still chatzitza until she scrubs it off well. V'avshekam zekvar and isbar the kochi makpedes chotzeitz. We already know this. Anything she's makpedes is chatzitza. This is what it's coming to tell us. That below shivshuv ena maim ma'avir no so the without scrubbing, the water is not going to remove it altogether completely. Therefore, im the makpedes, if it bothers her, it's like everything else. Where if she's bothered by it, it's a chatzitza. Then base hadyo ink. I think chola, milk, tvash, honey, dam, blood, srafatena, it's like a sap of a fig tree, of a fig fruit, the savatut, the sap from a cherry, the sraf ha-charuf, the sap of a carob, sraf ha-shikma, the sraf of the sap of a sycamore tree, which is obviously from the tree itself. A sycamore has no fruit. Yevation, any of the sap is dry. Same thing be true of maple syrup, obviously. Chotzitzim, it's a chatzitza. Lachim, if it's moist, ain't a chotzitzim. It's not a chatzitza. Shakol srafim. Any other type of sap, I feel lachim, even if they are moist, chotzitzim. They are chatzitza. Srafu no teif. So I guess because these, I don't know about shikma, but the other ones come from fruit, and therefore I guess it's not as viscous as the ones that come from the tree. Although sycamore, I think, should be viscous. But anyway, he's saying the other ones, if you like, because they are viscous and they adhere. Srafu no teif. Sraf is what sap is what drips out. A guma, a gum, me'elonos from the trees. Before the fruit is ripe, from the tree itself, obviously as well. Some of them are very, very sticky, even when they are moist. And there's those which are not so sticky. And these are the four types, the ones which are not sticky, are the four types she needs bar. The two tamine peros. He says tut here is a type of fruit, and shikma here, evidently it's not a sycamore, rather who not ainim. It's about benosa shikma, which are not the sycamore itself, but something else, fig, which is also called sycamore. Also blood which is adhering to the flesh. Afiu lachim, it's moist chotetz. It's yabish. The blood which is starting to congeal. It's a bit sticky. When you stick a finger in it, strands come up from it. That's Rashi Menachos. The dam shenis basho, cooked blood. I feel lach even if it's moist. One should be concerned with what he says. I guess a woman is cooking and somehow blood gets cooked. I don't know how that happened, but it's I guess gets more clingy. Mem Gimel. It's cosmetics. Obviously, a woman uses to color her face, her hands, and her hair. It's not for two reasons. First one is do it for adornment. It's as if it's part actually from the body itself. Or the hair itself. And it's like a colored garment. So we don't look at the color as something which is in addition to the garment, and therefore chatzitza between the water and the garment itself, or whatever. It's intrinsic to the garment. So that's where you find the parechas in the base of Mikdash, even though it was dyed, could be toiveled. Even though it was dyed purple and red. The second reason, there's no substance. Just the look of a color. And it's not chatzitza. It's not like ink, which is a chatzitza. The Yeshua Mamash has substance to it. That is from the Rosh and the Rashba. So some of the ancient sources allowed on account of the second reason, l'chud by itself, and they said that that's enough a reason to be matir. The Kosav, well, I guess only on account of the second reason. Kosav Rokech writes, Isha Shinoga Biyura or Bikdera, woman who touched a pot or a Yura is one type pot, there's another type pot, and this Pachman, she became, her hands got koli. Mat, a little bit, Enoch made it's not concerned, Alpha Pisha Mat, need Bagba Basar, even though a little bit clings to the flesh. Fish ain't blood zem mamish because there's no substance to it. The times eat there, and that's why there was a girl that was martyr when who went to the mikvah. But she found a simple one place in her body. Shachruris, a black spot. Shenoga because they based on mechas where she touched the walls of the bathhouse. Shehuchshru, which they themselves became black with nail usher because of the smoke. And doesn't require a second tefillah. Also women who are dyers. Their hands are always dirty with dye. And Makpidos are not bothered by this. It's not chatzitza. Anybody who has this malacha, he's not concerned. So to women who sell meat, the hands are always somewhat bloody. And chatzitz mitam zeh, it's not chatzitz on this account. Pashu, the chomen is bar, it's clear in everything which you explained. Ima isha hi biyuchud makperes, if this woman specifically is concerned, shechatzitz by her as a chatzitza. Chen isha sheyesh lo shnei umanus, a woman has two crafts. Such as she dies, and sells meat. And she has both blood and dye in her hands. Even though she's not bothered by this. And so to any craftspeople, they have two jobs. Then they're not bothered. Still chatzitza. The came Masha Bezvagin so Perek Tam Chatas and Shalom came Posel Gdoilim. The Berheit of Yoshua, the Magen Avram, Vyeshis, the Magen Avram Zvad. Vyeshis stop making Daisha Tosi Echamem. It's enough to take up one of the two impediments. Oh, the Nomar, they say, Kem Nechita, the Menakusa, once she has to start cleaning, Tzula Nakushtem, she has to clean both of them. Chagad Matzim B'Kilayim, Reish Perek Beis. We find this course by Kilayim. The Pachas Mirova Batil, if you have less than 1/24 of the mixture of a different seed, it's okay. But Rova, once it's more than a 24th of the mixture, so Tanakama, you might. Tanakama says you just have to get down under the wire 1/24th. For Rabbi Yossi Suyale Avur HaKol, you gotta actually get to remove everything once you start moving. Look at Tanakama there, it looks like Tanakama. So Fizeh Gamakan, Dai Be'echad. According to this, it would be what? Enough to remove one over here. Move on. But one can distinguish between the two sugyas. And therefore, in practice, she should be machmir and she remove both substances which come on her from both her jobs.